1, 2, 3.
Hello, welcome to Rock the Cash Bar. I'm Ben Mowbray.
And I'm Diane Gallagher.
Every week we pick one song and do a deep dive into the lyrics and explain the different ways they've been interpreted.
We will also discuss how the song connected to us on a personal level, focusing on all the embarrassing details.
Glad to have you here. Enjoy the show. Oh, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
That's my attempted kazoo. You look very blonde.
I am very blonde. I changed it up.
You look very pretty.
Thank you. There's something about blonde hair that makes me feel slutty, and I think I'm okay with that at 44. I need some spice.
Dirty Diana.
And I was telling you, right as I was getting ready for the podcast, I got like a major dizzy spell.
It's the blonde hair. You're just getting into character. That's what being blonde does to you. Wait till you go bald. See what that does to you.
Oh God. I'm okay with that too, I guess. But I was telling Corbin, I was like, man, I miss just having generalized health anxiety. Now everything is a COVID scare because every fucking body got it this time. It doesn't matter what kind of booster vaccine. I mean, it does. The people who are boosted are not in the hospital, which is always great. Let's keep doing the vaccine and the boosters. But I mean, it's just in the air. It's just like, I don't know how I don't have it right now. I could have it right now, but dude, everybody has it.
I work in 2 different bars and restaurants, and both of them have had to close this week because of COVID. Because like multiple positive tests from people. I miss drugs. That's a great coffee mug.
It's the best mug on earth. Mine had some tea in it right now.
Absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get as much pleasure out of a cup of coffee as it used to get out of a line of cocaine.
I mean, we do our best.
Also at noon.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're recording this in kind of the dead zone between Christmas and New Year's. It's kind of as you pause to reflect, the Christmas is over. You've seen the friends and family. We got together and had a nice party at your place a couple of nights ago. Christmas night.
Yeah,
it was good. But now we're in that sort of dead zone where you're like making preparations for New Year's, which feels real grim. We've had a bunch of nasty years in a row. I think everybody knows that declaring that 2022 is your year is a fool's errand.
Nah,
don't do it.
No
Keep
one
your
is
eye on the ball.
Positive.
It's gonna be a weird New Year. I'm gonna be working for it. I think the party that we were planning to have has gotten a lot smaller. Like it was going to be just an absolute zoo at Grand Prize, but now we've definitely had to strip it down because we just don't have the staff to do a great big New Year's Eve show the way we'd planned to do it. So it'll be a stripped down, bare bones, kind of quieter New Year's.
Yeah.
And then God knows what happens after that. After Christmas and New Year's with the I can't even pronounce it. Omicron.
I haven't even looked it up. I'm just like, I don't care. It's out there, whatever it is.
I don't either. My COVID patience is getting real slim. Like I've got a booster shot scheduled for this afternoon. And then after that, like, I don't know what precautions I'm going to keep taking. Obviously I'm going to keep, wearing a mask and watching where I go. But at this point, I think it's just gonna be like, okay, like I'm boosted. I'm as protected as I can get. It's out there and unavoidable. So
yeah, you just do the best you can. I finally got Charlie his first vaccination. He gets his second one in January.
How did he handle it?
Great. It's a non-event with kids. I mean, their little arms don't even get sore. So like,
I remember getting vaccinated as a kid as being just the most painful event that had ever happened to me.
Yeah.
But then I got stung by a bee a couple of years ago, and getting stung by a bee when I was 6 or 7 was an absolute nightmare. And now I get stung by a bee. I'm just like, man, I was such a pussy when I was 6.
I don't know. I got stung by a wasp this summer. It felt like electricity. I was not happy about it.
No, I'm not happy about it. I'm not going out and getting stung for fun. I'm not saying that. I am saying I was really surprised in the 30 years I went between bee stings.
Yeah.
The massive change in it.
Well,
I don't know.
I will say that Charlie has had to have, over the last 2 years, a couple of COVID tests where they go deep in the nose, and that's traumatizing for a kid. It's horrible. And so I told him, I was like, the shot is like 2 seconds. That thing lasts for 15 seconds, and so he went in with that knowledge that it's like 2 seconds of pain and it's over. So he just had like an ow, and then he was like, okay, it's over.
Yeah, it's fine. Now it's just going to be aching all day long. You'll be fine, Charlie. I believe in you. You're a good kid.
Yeah.
Hey, we're doing a Patreon episode today. My buddy Steve Ryan won the Patreon drawing. Steve Ryan was the bartender at the Laugh Stop when I started doing open mics when I was 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah.
Super nice guy. He's from Wales. He looks like Magnus Van Magnuson, the strongest man in the world in the late 90s. He has a big beard. He's a big burly dude who's also an architect and a home builder. He lives in the Seattle area these days. He's building homes with his wife and his two kids. Very, very nice man. And I'm glad to get to do this episode with him. He chose
listening.
Yeah. He chose Green Day, which is I have a strange relationship with Green Day because I absolutely loved them when I was 14. Like when Dookie came out, like of course I had that album. Of course I played it back to front over and over and over again, listening to the headphones, singing along in the mirror, doing the air guitar in the front room. I absolutely fucking loved Green Day. They were like one of the first
don't
bands.
picture this for you because you like, you're like me, you like the Smiths and all that stuff. And I loved Green Day too, but I don't picture you rocking out to Green Day. This is fun.
It was kind of before the big shift for me because in 1994, that was the last year that I lived in Canada. I was 14 years old and I lived in the middle of nowhere. MTV was hard to get. Like we literally had pirate satellite dish.
Nice.
Like we had to, it was legal to buy a satellite dish, but you had to like pay for like the descrambler or whatever. Otherwise you're stealing money from Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks. Hollywood was coming after you. Well, no one's coming out into the snows of rural Canada to track down these satellite dishes. So it was kind of the done thing where you'd find a guy you had a descrambler guy who would get you the illegal descrambler. And then you also pirate satellite. Oh yeah, we got the porn. But the porn had like parental locks on it. So there's like a great big black blob telling you couldn't watch it. So you could see like legs and ankles on the outside of the screen. But we figured out because it was an adjustable satellite dish. So if you called the satellite and told it to go to shift its perspective, but then stopped it right away, it didn't know that it had been stopped. And then the channel lock would come off. So you get to watch porn in silence, which is how you want to watch porn when you're 13 or 14 years old.
The ingenuity, like the kids just don't know the things we had to go through back then.
Yeah, the ingenuity of 13-year-old boys looking for porn. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. We had a big periodical recycles thing outside of our school that was just full of old magazines that were being taken to the paper plant, and snapping the lock off of that and going through there looking like that's hundreds and hundreds of magazines stacked 6 feet high. There's got to be a Playboy in there somewhere, right? It's coming from the school library. That's how dumb we were. Like we literally we would pour through that thing once or twice a year thinking that eventually there's going to be one in there, just desperate for it. I was one day, like I found a discarded porn magazine in the ditch outside my house, like during quarantine. And I was thinking of just like how incredible that is. Like when I was 12 years old, that would have been just the greatest find. It would have been so valuable because it was hardcore pornography. It was not Playboy.
Wasn't Playboy.
It was insertions.
It was hustler level.
Yes, it was graphic depictions of human sexuality. And I'm walking by it at walking by it at 40 years old versus walking by it at 12 years old was just amazing. Like the lack of power that thing has over me now when it would have been 100% 30 years before. It was just kind of crazy to me.
I can't believe they still exist. Who's buying this?
I don't know. I still think, you remember the old days when there's just like, you would just like seed pornography like in the woods behind people's houses. Right. And that's how we got it. That's how it made its way back to us. How did we get into porn all this? So we're supposed to be talking about Green Day.
I know. This is a bad segue. Steve Ryan's listening like, guys, get to it.
Get to the point. I guess my point about Green Day is the point about like how young kids end up relating to music and choosing their identity with it. We've talked about it a little bit before, but in 1994, I was living in Canada. I loved Green Day. They were all over MTV, which was hard for us to get. But down here, it was super easy. So I moved down here in early 1995, loving Green Day. I loved The Offspring. I loved REM. I loved U2. And then I started meeting people and I realized that all of my favorite bands and all the music I was listening to was laughably uncool
Oh
to these
no.
15-year-olds. Because like, oh, you just like everything that's all over MTV, you loser.
You
You
don't know
just
our
like
local bands and deep cut. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Or even the big bands that weren't local, the big national ones that were still under the radar that hadn't got on MTV. You know,
Right.
like I'm telling people like I love Green Day, and they're like, oh, I'm really more into Operation Ivy. I'm like,
Yeah.
who the fuck
What?
is Operation Ivy? I've never heard
Damn
of
it.
them. I don't know. Who are these? The Buzzcocks? I don't know.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I just felt so totally out of place because everything that I thought was the coolest music was the most ridiculous music. It was a
It was
huge, big
too
shift for me.
mainstream.
Yeah, and at 14, of course, I don't have the strength to stand up for it. No, it's okay. I still really like it. You know,
Yeah.
it's really kind of a bizarre thing. So I immediately had to just like take my musical tastes and hide them away. And that's when I started getting into things like The Cure and Depeche Mode, because they were acceptable in a way
Yeah.
that the bands that I really was in love with were not.
Yeah.
So it's just my own weakness and awkward teenage years coming out this episode for sure.
All right.
But I loved them. Like they were just like I'd never heard music like this before. I'd never heard music this fast paced. I'd never heard, because the rock and roll that I was listening to was always kind of a little bit grungy, but tinged in bleakness and sadness. And then just to hear the pure joy that Green Day blasts away with was really, really refreshing, especially in the age of grunge.
Yeah, I feel like and you know, I hate to say this, but almost like the beginning of pop punk, like almost they gave birth to Blink 182, which I fucking despise, but they were fun. Like they were fun. So like, yeah.
And we're old enough now. Like I was attending bar and there was, you know, some kids, I say kids, they're probably in their mid-20s, but they were assuring each other that they've been into, you know, old school hardcore punk like Green Day for their whole lives. And it just like, yeah, that one just hit me like a ton of like, what? No, like that was the central problem with Green Day when they came out, was that they were specifically not hardcore original punk music, right? Like that was the anger that teenagers had for Green Day in the mid 90s, because they weren't Operation Ivy, or they weren't Fugazi. Like they were this band who had crawled to the top of a mountain that they just weren't supposed to be the ones to get to the top of.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. I have friends that are like, you know, a little like 9 years younger than me. And they know that me and Corbin like really like old punk music, and they tried to be like, I love Blink 182. And I was like, get out of my house. I can't have a conversation with you. Ugh.
Move along, fetus.
Dude. I'd sent them off with a Dead Kennedys album. Like, here you go.
It's kind of hard to imagine, like to put yourself back into 1994 and think about what music was then and how it was received. Like it was coming to us through MTV. There's a famous, we may have talked about it before, but it was an MTV Beach House performance by Radiohead in 1994. And this is Radiohead, peak sad Radiohead. This is Fake Plastic Trees and Creep. And you know, they weren't, Karma Police was still a few years away. Like they were still like, yeah, they weren't, they were just like your sad boy emo band. And then here they are booked to play the MTV Beach House, which is all the chiseled chests and fake boobs and just like the Hammerhead Spring Break, you know?
Yeah.
You and I wouldn't be welcome at the Spring Break Beach House.
With my blonde hair now, I think I could go. But back then,
you could fit in today, yeah. Who's that smoking MILF?
Me.
but that's what Tom York and Radiohead had to deal with. It's like, okay, go fuel the beach party with Creep.
Who books this? Who is the idiot that's like, this is a good fit?
It's a really bizarre thing. I only bring it up because it just like it sort of encapsulates what was happening, I think, with music, at least this kind of music. Is here's these sad, pasty English people trying to have fun in the sun for American spring break, playing their incredibly sad song. The audience isn't into it. They don't know what to do about it. So Tom York just jumps into the pool, you know, microphone packs and all, and immediately starts to sink. Like he's just way too weighted down. He can't even swim in the pool. So they have to dive in and haul him out. So it was almost like the next great rock star nearly drowned on MTV within months of St. Kurt's suicide. So it was,
my God, what if he had died?
And it was into that milieu that Green Day cropped out of nowhere, or out of nowhere for me. They were they were called Lookout Records in Oakland and San Francisco, which was the big like punk label. So there was all of these punk, Bay Area punk bands were kind of coming out of the ooze there. It was called like the Garland Theater or something like that.
Okay.
But it was like the tiny little like I think even smaller than like Fitzgerald's in Houston. But it was just like this tiny like back room where it was an all ages show. So there's no booze. So the kids would just be drinking in the street, probably doing whippets, that kind of stuff.
They got their drugs.
Yeah. And so Green Day was the poppiest and the youngest of those bands that were coming up, and they were already getting grief for being too pop, for being too accessible, for being too mainstream. Like all of that criticism was coming down on them from a very, very early age. Then they had the great big breakout success of Dookie in '94. And you go and you look at the track list on Dookie, they're all hits. Like it's crazy how many hits are on that album. Like you forget how many hits Green Day has. I was looking up their set list from recent concerts, and they're playing 22 and 23 songs, and every single one of them is a monster radio hit.
They were just so catchy and so just fun. Yeah.
And over such a long length of time, like it took me a while to be able to give Green Day their propers as a truly legendary rock band that has significant longevity. Like to go from like Dookie gets released in 1994, and I think American Idiot is 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. So they have like a good 12 or 13 year run as definitely one of the biggest bands in the world, one of the best sellers in the world. And we're going to be talking about their hit, Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, which I think is very indicative of the way Green Day has lived its life. Yeah. Because they were meant to be like, even as they're like, they're hated for being pop punk, but they're also beloved by millions more people for being pop punk. And then they come up with this song called Time of Your Life, which is this sweet acoustic ballad with a string section that's all about reflection and getting to know yourself and getting over yourself. And there's not a hint of irony in it. There's not, other than the title Good Riddance, there's not a hint of aggression in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice enough that Seinfeld, for the love of God, something as universally beloved as Seinfeld, used it in their last, Larry and Jerry of Seinfeld said, pretty early on and loudly that there's going to be no hugging and no learning on our show. Well, they ended their series with Time of Your Life, with Good Riddance, which seems to be all about hugging and learning. Yeah. So even Larry and Jerry were turned around by Green Day.
Yeah. That I mean, the Seinfeld episode is what I think of when I hear the song. I mean, that's how closely tied it is to it for me.
Yeah, me too. I think that's definitely where it came from. But it was also like, this was my peak Green Day hating. Like when this song came out, like I couldn't avoid it. It was absolutely everywhere. I was 17 or 18 years old and I wasn't interested in this kind of thing at all. Yeah. But now I'm super grateful that a band that I grew up with, and that I mean, their first major label release was one of the first albums that I bought and fell in love with. So I feel a kinship with them that makes me grateful that they wrote this song.
Oh, nice.
And it's almost, I hate to double back to it, but it's almost like me and that porn magazine I found in the ditch. Like it means something different to me now. I appreciate you in a different way, Billy Joe.
Very nice. Hold on, I'm about to text my son. Can you make Charlie be quiet? I'm not editing this out. He's down there like, and I'm just like, can I please have a podcast? All right.
Calm it down, my boys. Calm it down. Everybody knows the lyrics to this song, but we're going to do it anyway. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is Good Riddance, Time of Your Life by Green Day.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. It's impossible not to do it without his kind of
by the wrist. Yeah. I like the way instead of a fork in the road, a fork stuck in the road, which gives it a little bit weird imagery of like a literal fork in the road. It's just a small nuance thing of like a fork in the road. It's not a fork stuck in the road.
Yeah. He doesn't have that kind of. Is it Rudyard Kipling that has there was a fork in the road. I took the road less traveled by, and that's made all the difference.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that optimism to it, does it?
No.
It's more like
it's more like
fork in the road.
Yeah.
I gotta make a decision. Here's something I didn't know about this song. Apparently, I couldn't find it. I was looking for it, but I guess on the album version of it, they had to do a radio edit because I guess Billy Joe, as he's strumming his acoustic guitar like a hippie and not like a punk anymore, he's more or less announces to his fans like he fucks up the chord and then just goes fuck.
Yeah.
And then delves into it again and starts all over again. So it's like he's kind of like telling the audience, like, okay, this is an acoustic number. I understand that's not what you expect from me, but you're going to get it anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
the one I listened to today on iTunes has it, where it starts,
oh, really?
stops, and then
I've never heard that. I got to look harder.
So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time.
So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's kind of amazing because this is 97. So what would he be? He's probably only 25 or 26 writing this thing. It's kind of strange to look back on it that we run into this all the time. Like, here are these people who make these eternal pieces of art when they're babies.
Yeah. But he was writing it about a girl that was leaving. So when you think of it in that terms and not the broader meaning we put on it now, like it was just, this is a test. She's leaving. He doesn't want her to leave. She was like going back to like Ecuador or whatever. I don't know.
She was going to study with her family in Ecuador, which is a long way from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Billy. And apparently this song, they were knocking it around for a long time. Billy Joe was dating this girl. Her name was Amanda. She moved back to Ecuador. This was like 1990, 91 when that happened to him. So this is like his late teen years and the early days of Green Day. So he writes this song and it doesn't fit with everything else that they're doing. It doesn't fit with the bombast. It's not as poppy. It doesn't move as quickly. It's not danceable. It's not the fun song. So they leave it off of their first couple of albums, but they keep bringing it back up. Like, Billy Joe is just still like, it's still a good song. Are we ready? Are we ready to try to turn this corner? And then they finally do.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. This is definitely a people of a certain age kind of song, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got to be in your late 30s to your early 50s. This one will stick out at you.
It's hard to say that line, and I know so many people have done this when you're broken, but you love someone and you want to be happy for them, and you force it out of your mouth to be like it's not even I hope you had the time of your life, but I hope you're happy moving forward, even though you don't want them to move forward without you. And you just have to like just chew it out of your mouth, like, I hope you have fun and I hope you but you don't mean it, but you do, but you don't,
You mean it. I think it's like the Pearl Jam line at the end of Black, that devastating, I know someday you'll have a beautiful life, I know you'll be a star in somebody else's sky, but why can't it be mine?
Yes.
These are
never mind, I'll find someone like you. I hope I hope the best for you, and you're just but do I? Without me, do I?
But you do, like you hope for the best, but also like there's the other part of it looking back where you're just like, you also hope that they remember only the good times that you had together. They're just like, can I take away all of those, like if I could just rip all those bad, like it's almost like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Like instead of erasing it completely, how about we just erase the bad times and just have the good memories and move on from there? Can we do it like that?
Yeah.
Is that a way we can deal with it? Like, hopefully.
Do you find that you do that with past relationships? Do you find yourself remembering the good and not the bad?
Eventually. Yeah, absolutely. I do. It takes some getting over because you've got to go through a period where you remind yourself why the relationship is ending.
Yeah.
Like if you only remember the good times, then you start to go, well, how come I'm not still with that person? And you have to go, that's what you need to sort of access the bad ones. To go, okay, maybe we weren't as good together as my memory wants me to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's obviously a really difficult and conflicted place to be in. And that's when you need songs like this to come find you. So take the photograph. I mean, here's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial for what
It's
it's
a
worth.
great line.
It really is. And he did the young boy in love thing and got the girl's name tattooed, or had a tattoo specifically for her.
Yeah.
And then the pain got to when he had to get it covered up.
Yep.
I can't.
Yeah, I've always loved that line. I mean, he's trying to figure out a way to incorporate, that I had a tattoo of this, but tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. I was like, that's really good. I mean, if you're looking for something to rhyme with while, I mean, I was
Yep. It's something unpredictable, but in the end, it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. So this song, obviously, as soon as it came out, it was used because it's so cinematic. It was used obviously on the Seinfeld finale. It was also used on an episode of ER as a child died of cancer. So it's definitely pulling at heartstrings right from the get-go. But then it became like the graduation song.
Yes, and weddings.
Yeah, weddings is a weird, it makes perfect sense to me as a graduation song. As a wedding song, yee.
No,
I don't know, man.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Good riddance.
There's so many songs like Every Breath You Take. People that's a wedding song. That's a super creepy song to pick.
Stalker song. What are you doing?
I was watching a U2 documentary again. I'm sorry. It was the 30th anniversary of Acting Baby recently, so I was watching the documentaries they released on that, and Bono was talking about how One has been used as a wedding song and how uneasy that makes him feel, because that's not a love song, man.
Oh.
I don't know.
It just shows how much people pay attention to lyrics,
Yeah, I don't think they do. I think they just hear that string, or they hear
they hear one. Oh, oneness. We're becoming one.
Yeah. But in this song, I can't imagine what another turning point of Fork Stuck in the Road. Time gets you by the rest, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. That's if that's going to be your wedding song, then I mean, you're either the most unromantic, fully realistic couple that I've ever run across. Like, you're just going into it just absolutely clear-eyed. Like, that's what this marriage is going to be. It is going to be a test. It is going to be a journey. It is a fork stuck in our road.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. They said that Billy Joe was thrilled when others relate it to their own experiences, but I was like, oh, okay. I guess once it's out there, it's like, well, I can't control what you're going to do with it. Weird, but go for it.
I wonder, they must just absolutely scrub the specifics out of songs like this.
Yeah.
There's no talk about what color her hair is or what her name is or where she's going or anything like that. There isn't even really a reference to a relationship. It's just
true.
It's just a young man trying to cope with okay, you're leaving me. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, and I do love that, everyone thinks of the song being called Time of Your Life, but he had to make the name of the song Good Riddance just to show that he was pissed.
Yeah. I'm not singing this song without twisting the knife. I'm definitely going to do this.
Yes.
Did you watch their Woodstock 94 performance?
Oh no, did they do this song?
Yeah, no, they didn't do this song. No, they didn't do this song. It hadn't been out yet. They just did the big hits from Dookie, but they were definitely the snot-nosed punk kids who were just kind of raiding Woodstock, because Dookie was released in 1994. So nobody had heard of Green Day. They weren't on anybody's radar. And then all of a sudden they've got the best-selling album in the nation. So they're just okay, well, we got to squeeze these kids onto the stage, and it's just they just turned it into an absolute mudslinging mess.
I was gonna say, this is 94 was the mud mess, right? Because my favorite is Primus. Yeah. Primus is one of my favorite bands from the 90s for sure. And obviously they knew it was coming when they played My Name is Mud. Mud hit the fan. And the guy was just like, stop, you sons of bitches. There was so much mud. Oh, I love Primus.
Calm yourselves down, you fucking nouveau hippies. Yeah, Woodstock 94 was mud. Woodstock 99 was fire and blood.
Okay. I get them mixed up. I just know that something always goes down.
Yeah, Woodstock 94 was blamed on Green Day, and Woodstock 99 was blamed on Limp Bizkit.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Oh, that whole era.
I know. Just pretend that it never happened.
Oof. God
I say from like 99 to about like 2005, like just roll it up in a carpet and throw it off a bridge.
Oh, it's so
Like,
bad.
none of this
Papa
music ever happened.
Roach? Oh,
Yep.
it's such, I mean, they really just squeezed all those bands on us that were terrible.
Yep. It's kind of crazy. Like Green Day may be one of the very last, like very big stadium acts. Like rock and roll. Like we just don't do that anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like I think if you're looking to find the last truly great, really big, fully acceptable rock band, it's probably the Killers. But then you go back a little bit further, just like, and then it's only Green Day.
Hold on, you're losing me, because I mean, like Rolling Stones are still touring. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, I guess I mean like the last of the newly mint, the last to kind of come around. You know what I mean? Like there hasn't been another big rock act as big as the Killers since the Killers, right? Like Modest Mouse had a kick at the can, the Darkness had a kick at it.
I feel like the Black Keys had a nice kick at it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm also out of the game, so there's probably someone younger screaming at us right now.
No, I'm sure that there are. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those tend to be like solo artists or pop acts. Like in terms of like a proper 3-piece or 4-piece rock act, I think it's almost been an entire generation since an act like that has come along and taken the world by storm, which means that it's probably going to go away. Like it's going to be another generation before it comes around again. Like
maybe. I mean, the pendulum swings. So I mean, there's an ebb and flow to this. Like hopefully it just comes back hard soon.
Yeah,
it'd be great.
I think we live in a fully hip hop and pop world now. I don't know.
Wild how disconnected I am to the Nicki Minaj's and the Drakes and all that. And I'm just like, am I ever gonna get it? I don't know if I can.
I've never felt more out of place than I went to a Cardi B concert a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what to expect from her because all I'd heard is the name Cardi B and knew that she was like a really pretty pop singer. So I figured it was going to be something along the lines of like Christina Aguilera, you know, like teen pop something. And then I show up, I'm just like, what is going on here? That's not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
Like it.
We need to have, and I'm going to segue into I was going to save it for the end. We need to have, and Craig Bischoff wants to be the one that does this, and Patrick McClellan wants to do it too. The episode where people come on and defend pop music and tell us we're wrong. Like we need to have that. And what I was thinking is, so something that a New Year's resolution that I want to do for the podcast, and I've talked to Ben about it, is we want to do a live show. We want to do a live taping of the podcast.
Yes.
I want to do it at the secret group at the box, but we got to start talking to people. So we started rolling around ideas like what we would do for our live show. And Corbin thought it would be funny is like everyone who buys a ticket and shows up, they have like their name in a bucket to defend their song, like maybe the most guiltiest of guilty pleasures. And they get like, you know, 2 minutes to come up and defend their song. And then it made me think about like Craig telling us that we're wrong about pop music. Nate Abshire, who we've had on the podcast, wants to defend some pop music. And maybe we could have like a segment during that live show where people try to explain to us why we're wrong and why they're good. And especially the current state of pop music.
It's not that I hate pop music. Like I admire it for the very real reason that like if you're Taylor Swift or you're Beyonce or you're Harry Styles, then you literally are in a position where you're trying to write the song that's going to define the summer, that's going to get in everybody's head. Like you're trying to reach as many people as you possibly can and affect them as like that's a really, really big artistic swing to take.
Yeah.
And with this song, Billy Joe Armstrong did it while he was trying to.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he was making that effort. I think the other like you know what we think of as authentic rock music, it happens sort of by accident. You know, a song like One or a song like this or a song like Every Breath You Take, it kind of accidentally makes its way out into the ether. You know, whereas Taylor and Beyonce go into the studio going, this is what I want to do. Like I want to control I hate using the word, but I want to control the zeitgeist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to go down in history as like the #1 song of this decade, or, you know, defining this, time in history. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, and I think it's only in music that they do. Like, I don't think filmmakers set out to go, okay, this one's going to be the best picture nominee. I don't think actors go, okay, this is going to be well, maybe the actors do. They definitely look for their Academy Award role.
They do.
But I think in music, I can't imagine anybody sitting down with, well, okay, I'm way off on a rant, because people definitely sit down and try to write the great American novel.
Yeah,
Too many
they
people
do.
try to do that. Okay. I'm lying to myself. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think people could easily put us in our place when it comes to I think we're the ones that are just stuck in our own dumb feelings and trying to go too deep when in actuality, I agree that a lot of these popular songs are catchy. I mean, Bootylicious is stupid and I love it.
Yeah. I like being in my cloistered turret. Leave me alone with my doilies.
I know, me too. I'm just like, will always be the deep teenager writing in my journal. I'm not gonna like Taylor Swift. I'm not gonna do it.
I'm gonna laugh every time I see that coffee mug. I'm sorry. A coffee mug that just plainly says "I miss drugs" on it is the funniest thing. Is it funnier than a monkey on roller skates or a bear smoking a cigarette? I don't know. We'll leave that to the comedy nerds to discuss.
Or sunglasses on a dog's butt.
Sunglasses on a dog's butt. Endlessly funny.
It gets me every time.
Sunglasses on a dog's butt, and then the dog farts.
His tail.
I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven.
I didn't do a whole lot of research for this. I just kind of wanted to talk about Good Riddance, and as far as like the song, but also an overarching good riddance to 2021.
Yeah, a nasty year, a very, very nasty year. I'm glad to see it. I don't know what's going to happen in 2022, but it did.
Vaccinations came out. I went back on vacations, but I just feel like we're all so COVID exhausted that we just want it to end. And we don't even, we had hope in 2021 that vaccinations and all this stuff would like bring it, the light at the end of the tunnel, but then the new variants keep coming out. And then we're just like, none of us have hope for 2022, but I want to. I miss hope, don't you?
I think that's absolutely I do. And it's not like we're walking around going all hope is lost and it's all doom and gloom. It's just that once that hopeless vein gets carved through every single person in the culture, then it seems like it's all we can see, like it just the bleakness of it that's what's getting tiresome to me, like not knowing what to. I went out last night for a drink with an old friend of ours, and the whole city is just deathly quiet. And obviously it's because it's between Christmas and New Year's, but it's also because of the pandemic, and because people are just like, okay, I went to a Christmas party, so I better stay home and await my test results. Or all right, I'm testing negative. I want to keep testing negative until New Year's, and then we'll see what happens after that. There's just a lot of sadness planning going on out there that is affecting everybody.
I broke up with Christmas today. I usually hold on till after New Year's because I love the way my house is cozy. I like the Christmas candles. And today, like, I'm going to keep the tree up. I'm going to take the decorations off, but it's a fake tree with the lights strung into it. And I just like the way it looks in my living room. But all the other decorations to me, it was like a breakup on the horizon that was coming. And so I was like, I just want to rip the Band-Aid. So I just started ripping the shit off the walls and put it in the box. Like, why delay the inevitable? Christmas is over. And I'm just like, let's get this show on the road. Let's start boxing it up.
Time to box this up and figure out what's next.
Yeah, I guess.
What are we going to do with this fork stuck in the road?
Yeah. Jesus. Okay, I don't want to bum everybody out. It's a new year. New things are coming next year. Speaking of, I want to segue that into 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson, because as you'll see at the end of it, this is going to be the last Tommy Stinson. It's going to get retired, and I'll let Jeremy explain. So let's watch.
I'm excited.
Hey friends, welcome to a year-end edition of 6 Degrees, where this week we're going to connect Tommy Stinson to the band Green Day, which I believe we can do for the first time in the history of the show in 0 steps. Yes, Green Day frontman Billy Joe Armstrong served as the 5th replacement for a short time in 2014 during the Replacements reunion tour. That summer, Replacement singer Paul Westerberg hurt his back and had to perform sitting down, so the group enlisted Armstrong to play Westerberg's guitar parts at the Coachella Festival. He would also join the group playing alongside a healed Westerberg for shows in Atlanta and Louisville, bouncing around stage alongside Tommy Stinson. So today we learned that Billy Joe Armstrong was briefly a replacement, and with that weird moment of full circleness, I've decided to take a break from 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson for 2022 and focus on a new musical target. Who will it be? Let's just say it involves a Hanson. Back to Diane and Ben.
Yep.
Anything that involves a Hanson is okay. Speaking of things that are never not funny, the Nirvana T-shirt with the picture of Hanson on it always makes me laugh.
Always good.
100% of the time. Every time I see it, I always laugh and then immediately just go, I wish I'd thought of that.
So my ex before Corbin, his last name was Hanson.
Uh-huh.
When he was in prison, I know I pick winners. He was a very nice guy. He just, got in some trouble when he was younger, but he had Hanson across his back in Old English and like that prison ink tattoo where you just melt down the caps of Bic pens. And so it's there forever. Like lasers won't come off. We tried,
Yeah.
but we were all drunk one night and he had taken off his shirt and one of my friends didn't know his last name was Hanson and she was just wasted. And she was like, why do you have Hanson tattooed on your back? Like, the band. And I was like, because the band rocks. What are you talking about? Like, it's his name.
That poor fella.
Oh, no. I know.
All the things you don't want inscribed on your back in prison.
Old English, because that's such a 90s thing. Nothing defines the 90s more than having something like tattooed on your back in Old English,
I don't have tattoos and I can be critical of tattoo culture. But like when I see younger people like the tribal tattoos that were popular in the 90s and all that stuff, I see like the tattooed young people like making fun of it, like, it's such an ancient tattoo. You're like, shouldn't that be vaunted in tattoo culture? Because there's absolutely no way that your tattoos of the tools of your trade or like the super colorful ones that you see these days, like that's going to be in 20 years, that's going to be laughable because everything gets older, man. Everything does. I don't understand. You'd think like with like it's permanently on your skin. So like no matter, you would think that would mean that it's eternally cool, at least for tattoo people. Like the older it gets, the more laughable it gets, the more venerated it would be. You would think in that, or I would think in that world.
I don't know. I think like you have to give it even more time. Like I am enamored with like the old dudes you see with the pinup girls tattooed on, like the old war guys. And I was like, I don't know. It's pretty cool. It has to be meaningful, like the way, Corbin gets his done by Aaron Springs, who's obviously just like almost like world famous and he's so good. And, he gets like very personal stuff. Like he doesn't do just like tribal, which is popular. He has our son, he's just, I was like, I think as long as it's like wildly personal, I think it can be cool forever. But yeah, doing just like what I have on my back was a Chinese character, which has faded so much it looks like a Christmas tree, and like the tribal, like just the trendy tattoos. That's, guys, steer clear of that. Don't do that. Yeah.
I'm tattoo cynical. When I see somebody who's absolutely covered in tattoos, my first thought is that young man is really seeking the approval of his peer group. Like I turn very assistant principal.
Well, Corbin was wildly anti-tattoo. So I mean, never wanted it to touch his body. And then his best friend died and he got his name, the name that's on his tombstone, because like his middle name is in Farsi. And so he has that tattooed across his chest. And he's like, and he said the morning of Ed, like being sad of Ed's death, went away a little bit after he got him like across his heart. And he was like, there was something about that triggered it. And then he just, we had a son and he wanted that. And now he's full blown in the addiction. So weird how he flipped.
I think now he can see that it can be a fitting tribute, that it changes his head a little bit. And that's good. Getting over the death of a friend, especially at that age, like Corbin was in his mid-20s then, right?
Actually, Ed died at 30. And so Corbin was like early 30s.
In the early 30s, right? Yeah. I mean, it's hard to, I can't imagine. I mean, it's just hard to process that. And if that brings a little bit of completion, if it squares the circle for him, then I say good on you.
And I'm like, thanks, Ed. You gave Corbin an expensive addiction now. And he's like, I want this whole arm, and then I want this whole arm, and then I'm going to go up my neck. And I was like, you're not doing the neck. I'm going to stop you right there. We're not doing the neck.
No.
A lot of people can do the neck. That's fine. I'm not married to them. We're not doing the neck.
Not the neck, not the face.
Yeah, I know.
I've heard that it's the tops of your feet that hurt the most. That's what I've heard.
It sounds awful. Corbin's right here, like for people who are listening, not watching, like under your upper arm, close to the armpit. He said he almost died. Like you have to, it's like you have to stop. And he never tries to stop Aaron, but he's like, you have to stop. I'm dying.
Mm-hmm. You have to stop. I need the whiskey.
Yeah. Sorry. Were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, before we forget, we have to draw for January Patreon.
Ooh, who's it gonna be?
All right, we still have quite a few in here. I forget how many Patreons that we have, because after we get through all of them, I'm going to put everybody's name back in and we'll just keep going. We'll start over.
Go through it again.
I feel like half a year in here. All right. Who are picking for January Patreon? Josh Hall. This is my friend from high school. So yay. I'll get in touch with Josh and see what song he wants to cover in January. Yay, that's exciting. Congratulations, Josh. Thank you for being a Patreon member. Anybody listening, it's $5 a month if you want to support the show, and then your name gets into the drawing. And guys, please contact us. Please write us and tell us if we do a live show here in Houston, would you come? Would you buy a ticket? Let us know.
Talk to me. I'm lonely.
Yes, talk to us in general. Tell us if you like the show. Rate and review, please. That 5-star rating and that little review that you type just helps us up the algorithm. So please take time out of your day for a gift to us from 2021. Give us a review. That'd be great.
Do it.
If we're wrapping up, I was gonna say we were supposed to put this out a long time ago. We got real lazy over Christmas. I was going to say, like, we have 2 weeks off. Merry Christmas. But I'm going to get this episode out as quick as I can. I'm not going to wait until Monday. So that leaves Monday blank, which I might try to just throw together a best of 2021 and throw it up. But otherwise, we will not be back with a new episode until January 10th. And Ben, you want to tell them what you're thinking for that episode?
We're going to do Nick Cave.
Yeah.
Daddy's home. We're going home to Papa.
This is Ben's wheelhouse. Right?
I'm gonna be weird. It's gonna be a fun episode. It's gonna be very strange. Nick is a complex and occasionally foul man.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm here for it. I never got into Nick Cave as much as you did, but and I love these episodes where I don't even have to do research. I'm just like this. Like, talk to me, Ben. Tell me.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3.
Rock the Cash Bar is produced by Diane Gallagher, music by Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins. Special thank you to Jeremy Essig for 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson and to Sara Wessling for the Guilty Pleasures vocals. Our website is rockthecashbarpodcast.com, and there you can find links to our Spotify playlist and to our Patreon. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.